WLTX breaking news now.
Thanks so much for joining us here on WLTX Plus. Breaking right now, the Richland County Sheriff's Department is addressing two separate cases involving students bringing guns onto school grounds. Monday at J.P. Thomas Elementary, authorities say a 6-year-old brought a loaded gun onto the school bus. And we also know that at another school, Richland Northeast High School, another student was detected, or a gun was detected in their book bag. We're going to go live to that press conference happening right now.
But we forget about every day that these kids go to school and just do great things. I talk to all 3 school superintendents, Dr. Walker, Dr. Moore, Dr. Ross, on a regular basis. One of our biggest priorities is making sure that our schools are safe. They are safe. From what we do with our school resource officers, what the school districts do with metal detectors, and the relationship that we've built with the kids who police the schools. That's why 58,000 kids go to school just about every single day of the week when they're supposed to be there, and you never hear anything about them. 58,000. I just want you to think about that number and how many kids there are. Now, I want to talk about the 6-year-old that brought the gun to school. All right, that's a gun. That's it, right there. That is an assault pistol. It shoots. Initially, we said it was a 5.56 round. We made a mistake. It's not. Here's the bullet. It's a 300 blackout. There ain't a whole lot of difference between what we said, a 5.56 and 300 blackout. These are killing rounds. That's what these rounds are developed for, is to kill. And this is what a 6-year-old brought to school with the magazine. There's still some bullets in this magazine. I only took one out. But this is... It's not a play toy. This is actually pretty heavy. You can pick this up, and the weight of it will tell you that this is not a toy. Anybody who was associated with this would know it's not a toy. But a 6-year-old finds it, brings it to school on the school bus, and how did we find out about it? The other students. The other students are the ones who went to adults and said, so-and-so on the school bus has got a gun. Then our SRO gets involved, and we recover the gun. Where would a 6-year-old get something like this? Very simple. From a parent who evidently did not care. From a parent. The mom who we locked up. Now, we've heard a couple different stories from other adults. We've also heard that 6-year-old initially found a gun and took it home and gave it to mom. And mom takes it and puts it somewhere in the house. Doesn't call law enforcement. Doesn't say, hey, my child found a gun. Come get it destroyed. Nope, she keeps it in the house. And then according to her story, she takes it. Now, he finds it in the woods. According to her, she takes it and puts it back in the woods where the 6-year-old finds it again. What is wrong with that story? What is wrong with that? Why would a mom take a killing machine like this and put it back in the woods where her son's already found it once before and give him an opportunity to do it? She's charged with unlawful conduct toward a child. I mean, that's not being a mom. That is not anything about being a responsible adult. Is the where your child finds this and you allow your child the opportunity to get it again and to bring it to school. I can't fault the 6-year-old. I can't fault that 6-year-old one bit, because that 6-year-old did not have any adult supervision that would have taught him this is a weapon. You do not need to have that. You need not to be playing with that. That's absolutely no excuse for that. So that was the 6-year-old. Then the same day, then I want to show the list of all the parents that we've arrested. These are the parents we've arrested. My goal is not to lock up parents. My goal is to get parents to be parents, be responsible parents. This is just another one added to that list of those that you already see up there. I hope that list doesn't grow, because I hope parents become parents and don't give their kids the opportunity, a 6-year-old, to take something like this to a school. But that same day, we had a 16-year-old that tried to walk through the metal detector at one of our high schools, and of course the metal detector gets off. We find a gun in the book bag. 16-year-old gets arrested, goes to DJJ. This school year's just started. That 16-year-old's lost the school year for the whole year. Won't be going back to school. And then yesterday, we have a parent that goes to another high school, walks through the metal detector. It goes off. There's a gun in their pocketbook. Zero tolerance for that. The message should be to young people and to adults. The metal detectors work. Metal detectors work. You try to come into a school with a weapon, it's going to go off and you're going to get arrested. Zero tolerance for that. All 3 school superintendents and I agree, zero tolerance for somebody who brings a gun to a school. Parents, you carry a gun in your pocketbook, or you carry a gun in a holster on you, you can't carry that into school. That is against the law. Leave it in the car, because if you come into school with it, metal detectors go off. That is what the school districts and I have worked toward, is to make sure that we don't have guns in the schools. Kids policing the schools, letting us know what's going on, metal detectors, all of us working together as a team. So I started off with something positive, talked about some negative stuff. Now I want to go to something else positive. So not only, and this is a 14-year-old, I think I put this out before, that when asked where would you get a gun at, buy one on the street, and you see the list of all of them. All of those involve an adult. All those involve an adult. That is how these kids are getting. That is how the 6-year-old got the gun, from the parents, unsecured weapon. Now, next week is Be Smart Week. That's about being responsible gun owners. If you'll look at number 1, S. What is S? Secure your weapon. Do a good role model. M. Next week is Be Smart Week, where we're going to have a press conference next Monday for Be Smart at the City of Columbia. We talk about responsible gun owners, protecting stuff. So, but how do we do that? How we do it is with gun locks. So, to follow up on something positive that we started with, this is something positive too. Prism of Health in Richland has partnered with us, and we have gun boxes, we have gun locks that we're giving away. We'll give you 2 opportunities. Next Monday, we're doing it at 2500 Decker, which is where our substation is there. Big parking lot. All you got to do is drive through, give us your zip code, and you get a gun lock, either a gun box or a gun lock. Ask for the Northeast Columbia and this area here. Lower Richland area, we're doing that on Thursday at our Lower Richland substation, which is the back of Lower Richland High School. 5 to 7, both of them. Same thing. You drive through. We're going to give you the opportunity to be a responsible gun owner. We're going to give you the opportunity to keep your guns safe. We're going to give you a box. We're going to give you the lock to put on it. There's no excuse for not being a responsible gun owner. None whatsoever. So here's your opportunities. But I want everybody again to remember, 58,000 kids are in school today. We're not going to hear anything about them because they're there to learn. Those are the kids we need to focus on. Questions?
Are you tracing the origins of the gun found by the 6-year-old, or do you know who the owner was?
Yeah, we're trying to trace that. We're doing traces on all the guns that we get. Just try to determine where it came from, who owned it, where it was stolen from. So we hadn't got to the results of that yet, but we're checking that.
The father spoke yesterday about finding the gun. He claimed that when he first saw it, he thought it was a air gun, what have you, but of course, seeing it in person.
All right, I'm going to be nice and just say he's stupid, okay? That's about as stupid as you can get, to see that and have that in your hand and think this is a toy. This is not a toy. This magazine is not a toy with bullets in it. This is not an airsoft gun. It's not a toy. So So you look at it, you feel it, you know that's a real gun. So that's an excuse, absolute excuse. If it was a toy, what did it matter? Then why would the mom have taken it out of the house and put it back in the woods? That doesn't add up. Why did, when the little boy came in with the gun the first time, you take it and you hide it? If it's a toy, let him play with it. So that makes absolutely no sense. So. Anybody else?
When he found the gun and when she went back in the woods?
We're working on all that. Again, what we focused on is what happened. The fact, the negative part, a 6-year-old brought us a gun on a bus to show the kids. And I want people, again, look how big that bullet is. That bullet will go through multiple seats of a school bus. It will go through windshields. It will go through walls. It will go through a lot of stuff. So if that gun would have been fired on that bus, there's no telling where this bullet would have went or what child's name it would have had on it. No excuse. All right, thank y'all.
Well, if you are just joining us, we just heard from Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott, who just gave us an update regarding 2 separate incidents involving students bringing guns onto school grounds on Monday. Now, one, it involved a 6-year-old student at J.P. Thomas Elementary School. The other, it involved a 16-year-old student at Richland Northeast High School. Sheriff Lott started saying his biggest priority is making sure that all students in Richland County are safe when they go off to school. Now, he did clarify some information they initially sent out to us, that the gun that the 6-year-old brought onto the school bus was a .300 blackout. Sheriff Lott says another student saw the gun and reported it. He also held up the bullet during the press conference and kind of showed us how big that bullet was, and saying that Monday's events could have went a lot worse had that student loaded that gun and fired it while on the bus. Just showing how big it was, that there was no telling where that bullet could have went. Now, Sheriff Lott put much of the responsibility in this case on the child's mother. He says the child previously found the gun and showed it to the mother, and according to investigators, the mother told them she put the gun back into the woods. Now, the sheriff says the 6-year-old went back out into the woods and got the gun again and eventually brought it to school. Now, Sheriff Lott says he does not fault that 6-year-old, saying that the child did not have the adult supervision needed to understand the danger and exactly what he was doing. He says right now they are working to determine how the gun initially got into the woods. They're going to be running tests to see if it has any crimes connected to it. Also, during today's press conference, Sheriff Lott also displayed a list of about 13 parents who he says have been arrested in cases involving crimes regarding their children. Now, the sheriff also addressed the 16-year-old at Richland Northeast High School. He revealed that another parent was arrested after she allegedly went into the high school with a gun in her purse. Now, Sheriff Lott also reminded parents that there is a zero tolerance for guns on school grounds, and to make sure that they are not carrying them on their person when they go into school, whether that be in their pocket, on their waistband, in their purses, or any of the sort. He says you will be charged. Now, the sheriff also used today's news conference to talk about responsible gun ownership ahead of the Be Smart Week, which is next week. The department, they're going to give away lock boxes on Monday and then again on Thursday as a part of an effort to help families properly secure their guns. Now, Sheriff Lott says there are no excuses for adults not being responsible gun owners, which is why they are taking part in that program next week. Of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated with that information as we get that information, and we'll have so much more on this press conference coming up later on WLTX at noon, as well as WLTX Friends at 5. So stay with us. Thank you for joining us.